And we're live on a Thursday night at 9 o'clock, the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. Well, you're going to see a couple of familiar faces on the screen, although some of our newer viewers may not recognize the one at the bottom. So let's go straight down to him. It's the man himself, Couch Critic. Couch, welcome back to the show, mate. I think you, myself, Gavin, and Henrik started this whole show, but back in about 2018, I'd say it was. How you keeping, first of all, and how's your show going? I know you've got your Afrikaans show as well that goes on. How's that doing?
No, I'm good. Thanks, Brent. Yeah, nice being here. And excuse the English. I might take 5 minutes or so just to start getting back into it after doing the Afrikaans one. So there's going to be a lot of ja and lekkers happening at the start. But I was actually surprised. I thought I had another 30 seconds. I haven't been on for this long. I thought you had an intro running. I was like, okay, where's the intro? It's just straight live. So things are different, Brent. But no, I also thought today it'd be if we had Hendrik back there, then it really would have been the originals, yeah.
Well, we'll see if he pops into the comments. And at the top there, as I say, he was kind of the guy who he didn't start the live show, but it was his videos that kind of prompted the idea of getting into the live show, and that was the Oracle. We used to call him Oracle Rugby. These days we call him Oracle Cricket. And Oracle, before you say a word, I'm going to make a rule on this show because you both love your cricket. We're going to talk about that at the end. We will talk cricket at the end, but let's talk rugby first. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thank you. Han would be happy to know that since I'm working the streets in Cape Town, my Afrikaans is baie mooi. Ek het drie woorde hierdie week geleer. Naskok, vlekkie blaase, and I'm going to ask you what the third one is. What is a waybill in Afrikaans, Han? Let's see how good you are. You don't know. Nobody knows.
No, I don't.
I heard two couriers speaking Afrikaans to each other at a proper pace, and they just kept going, waybill. I said, hang on. Every word's Afrikaans except waybill. They didn't know. It's a vragbrief.
Vragbrief. Okay.
Well, I'm sure a lot of our Irish viewers will be grateful they followed that part of the show.
You told me not to talk cricket, so I came up with something else.
No, good stuff, mate. Yeah, but good to have you two guys together. Looking forward to chatting a little bit. I imagine it'll be similar, Gavin, to last week in the sense that we'll skim through the games and probably focus more on the South African ones. Obviously, if you've got any strong fancies, you can shout out. And then, yes, let's by all means talk about other stuff and a bit of cricket at the end as well. It'll be good to catch up. Fareed joining us in the live chat. Fareed, good to have you on board as you usually are, of course. Now, just to mention, I'm not sure this might be the last show of the year. We might just go out again next week. Probably call it quits then and come back sometime in the second or third week of January. But let's get into a bit of the Champions Cup. And first of all, Gavin, let me ask you last week, how did things go from a betting perspective for you, and what were the highlights?
The highlights were getting the first game right. Stormers winning on the board, that was great. Then I lost on just about everything else. I actually thought I was in the money at one point during the Sharks game. They were getting hammered, and for some reason that French team went to sleep, allowed them back in. But I did get out right at the end on the minus against the Cheetahs, which was one over the handicap. So yes, I lost, but it was marginal for which could have been a far worse had Exeter's minus not arrived right at the end. Yeah, I got it wrong. Got the cricket game wrong as well. Sorry, I'm not allowed to talk about that. Carry on. Yeah.
No, we'll talk about that. Fareed is saying you can't even speak Afrikaans overseas anymore. There are too many South Africans about. I think it's a good point. Just quickly before I bring Couch in, my week, the newsletter had arrived. Bordeaux over 29.5, came home smoking. But I'm on one of those runs of form. I can pick 5 winners out of 7, but find a way to lose on the weekend. I'm just going through that run. I'm also not punting particularly big, which has helped, but I've just got this like slow puncher. It's just leaking. And my bet at the weekend that was going to get me back into the profit, Gavin, was actually to over 6.5 tries. And they scored 5 just before half time. And then you talk about the French team going to sleep. Fortunately, they were far enough ahead for your handicap, but they also just went to sleep in that second half. It was quite something. Let's have hear from Couch then. How things go for you? Are you doing a bit of rugby betting at the moment, Couch, or more watching from a distance?
No, definitely took a bit of a break, but back with a bang quite a while now. I'd actually like to chat to you guys maybe just before the end on strategies and how it evolves and how you punt in one particular type of way or one style, and then later it gets to something different. So obviously mine now is not doing multis, but doing accumulators. So just 2 or 3 legs and taking the alternative points, and it just works out better. But then obviously you're in a heap of trouble when you're one really strong fancy or the anchor in most of those bets doesn't arrive. And my big one was the Lions. I was thinking it was going to be points all over the show in that game, and the Lions just couldn't catch the ball. It was absolutely terrible. So I had that in a lot of multis, and then just before the game, I also took the Lions to lead at halftime, or actually 2.5 handicap, and I think they led by 2. So I was absolutely sick as a dog with that bet. So that went poorly, and then obviously, as you say as well, all the others pretty much win. So you end up just with a small loss, but you think, if it just wasn't that one result that kind of killed you. Because overs was an absolute shoe in the Bulls game. I went. I didn't go for the Bordeaux overs. I went for overs in the game, but that was also easy.
Yeah. That even arrived before. That actually arrived. Although the Bordeaux one, in theory, had a bigger, arrived almost easier. The overs, the main overs arrived because the Bulls led, and the main overs arrived even quicker. So that was one, and I think every punter was on that. I think, just looking back to last week, the one game every punter. Well, I wasn't on it really because although I did still find a way to lose on the game, but was Sharks. Toulouse. They were back from -26 to -48.5. And Gavin touched on the game now, Couch. There was a point there where it looked like, it was 28-0. I was on Toulouse also over 8.5 tries. I can't remember exactly what, but it looked almost certain that it was going to arrive. And then they went to sleep, and there was a point there where it looked like even the -26 backers were going to lose. The Sharks were on the attack. I think they were about 14 points or 12 points down. And then, they a couple of mistakes, and all of a sudden they conceded a few. But that would have been a massive result for the bookies if the Sharks had stayed closer. As it was, the early birds got the worm, but the guys who got on late were beaten in that one. You have any major interest there?
No, also that as a leg, so also in most of them also helped a bit. But I was also, let's say, I think 36.5 was pretty much the handicap that I got into the multis. So 28 zip up. I thought, okay, I could have gone for the main one, and then all of a sudden I started watching. I was just following it on the score update, and it was 28-12 when the Sharks were actually pushing for a try with almost on the hour mark. And I thought, this is ticket in the bin if they score, and they did. And all of a sudden I felt, wait a second, these guys are capable. They can strike quite a few times, and then they did. And luckily the floodgates kind of opened towards the end there. But if you went on the outright handicap at where it settled, you probably would have been a loser. I can't remember what it was in the end. So it was definitely. It was as a Sharks supporter on the one side, it was quite good to see a little bit of fight from the Sharks. But when you got a bet against them, you're like, come on guys, just let it go,
No, 100%. Well, 2M systems, Sharks gave 2 times 7 on the plus. Yeah, fair enough. If you like the Sharks, you could really have made bucks here. But let's get into the games themselves. We've got 12 games, of course, to get through. Friday night's game, Leicester up against Leinster. If I track the forum, if I look at the forum correctly, there has been a bit of movement. It was sort of, I think 10.5 plus 10.5 Leicester went into 7.5. But I saw Coyle mention on the forum they haven't named as strong a side as people would have expected. So you got Leicester plus 11.5. Leinster evidently going full strength. I will post all the teams on Good for the Game on the blog probably later tonight, whatever's out. And a points line of 51.5. And let's hop up to the Oracle first and foremost. Oracle, only game on a Friday night, if I'm correct. So, if you're doing nothing, you'll want to get involved here.
Yes, maybe. I'm just sorry. I just need to just clear something up because it's worrying me. It's going to worry me for the rest of the show. I don't get worried much, but this one's worrying me. Han, there was no fight back by the Sharks. That was 100% Toulouse taking their foot off the pedal, cracking a beer, looking at the big 5 on the right and left of their vehicle, and then going, oh, we're in trouble. Maybe we need to win this game. There was no fight back. I did see this handicap. The Sharks, I'll talk about it, the Sharks game. I'm not really interested here. This is one of those games, Brent, where I'll watch a bit and I might get involved. I don't know. I don't know enough. The English rugby, unfortunately, I don't see much of. I don't see any of it, actually. I'm not even going to say I see much. So, yeah, I can't advise anything here, really. I do bet on games if I watch them, and this will be on TV. I might have a bet, but honestly, this is fractions of a unit. They're never big bets.
I see Couch. I just bought this up because Fareed had said there was 7 on Betway, but I see it is live betting. I'll just double check and refresh the page, but we've got 11.5 now on this game. Don't look at my bet exchange balance if it's there. It's sitting at about 6 cents in the account after last weekend. Couch, any thoughts on this opener?
I think he does now say Fareed, moved again to 12 points. So it
there we go. So fair enough.
As movements. No, it's a tough one. I know Gavin has been pretty much notoriously different from me. I'm a big team news kind of guy, so I don't know enough of Leicester. Obviously, I know Leinster, but I don't know the English teams as well. I'm with Gavin, so I can't really say much. I'll probably wait for this one in running and just have a look. I must say, I've been one of those who feels like it's not quite over for Ireland. I think they're still in for fighting chance in terms of their rugby. I think they can still get something out of those Leinster-based players, but Leinster themselves, to me, they've just dipped off. I can't see them really. Every week we expect them to smash someone, and they never really deliver. So I'm almost taking a Heinrich kind of stance there, where I just think Leinster mostly are overpriced. So if you want to do something, probably lean towards the plus when people are playing against them.
Right, let's move on to the next game just to welcome Werner and Johan arriving in the live chat studio as well. Couch, I'm going to start with you here. Stormers minus 24.5, opened early line with Bet Exchange minus 12.5. So there's been consistent money for the Stormers, who of course made a brilliant start to the season in the URC, unbeaten, winning games on the road. And last week, beating some tough French opposition there. It was very much a choice game against Bayonne. Bayonne, in fact, I think started 1-point favourites. They're minus 24.5 against La Rochelle, which tells us one thing, Couch. La Rochelle are sacrificing this game, no doubt about it.
Yeah, again, it's unfortunate. I think you don't want to promote insider trading, but it'll be nice if you knew who was going to get on the plane beforehand, and you could make some bets. But it's like everyone is looking at social media accounts and hoping to see who's going to be playing and who they're taking. I mean, it was the same with Bordeaux coming this side. It made a heck of a difference whether they're playing their top side against the Bulls, as we saw, whether they just not going to go to the trouble of playing the game, with their top side. So obviously, I mean, that would have been the same question of like the Sharks and Saracens, whether it's going to be the A team or not. So it makes a big difference, but the Stormers on an absolute high. I mean, they've got Sasha Feinberg playing this weekend, and all the big dogs, or most of them, not Damian Willemse, but things are looking good for the Stormers. I think previously, I mean, even on the outrights for the URC, they've been undervalued. People have felt like, it's just a bit of a bubble at the start, it's going to burst. But I think Dobson has created great depth there. He's used to playing without his Springboks. So when they come back, it's almost like a bonus, but they play the same style. You got guys like Neetland Foucher, who's there permanently, and he's, kind of on the fringes of the Springboks, good player. So it's a proper team. Paul de Villiers, that's another one. I'll throw that in as a try scorer play just now as well. Beautiful feature flank. It's a lot of turnovers, and Stormers are a good team playing in PE this weekend, so that's something to keep in mind a little bit. Not their normal, I almost said Newlands, which obviously it isn't in any case, but they should be up for it in PE though, to give the people a good show. 3:00 game. Not sure on the weather, but we hardly ever get rain on this side anymore, so should be a cracker. Should be a lot of people, and don't know much about La Rochelle, but I think obviously getting into the 20s is a lot, but that early handicap would have been beautiful. But Stormers will definitely get the job done. Maybe have a little look, but in play is tough because I feel the Stormers always start fast, so you're probably gonna have a maybe go for a halftime handicap and expect the Stormers to come out firing.
Right. Well, you're not the only one making a comeback on the show tonight, Couch. Johan Schoonby saying, good long time, guys. And he says, watch out. I think, the The check comments are coming in fast. I'm losing it here. Watch out for the La Rochelle second string team still covering that cap. Remember, they won the Champions Cup before. So the strong squad, even though it's not their first string. Well, Johan, welcome back. Good to have you watching the show. Another Johan Estaten says, I would be on the plus. Stormers rarely put teams away. And Farid says, if Reinach and Sasha fire, it can be a nice blowout. Right, Oracle, let's go up to you for the Stormers game. I was originally going to ask you early in the week, are you going to the game? But, of course, it is in PE, so it's a bit of a drive from Cape Town. But certainly I know you'll be watching this one. What are your views?
Do you know why they don't have the game in Cape Town? There's a motorbike thing going on at the stadium, the Supercross World Championship. And I'm being hammered with adverts in American voices on the radio all day long. I don't know. Anyway, I think last year or the year before, they went and played in Port Elizabeth, Gqeberha. I'm going to say this handicap feels too high. Yes, the French can send half a team, as they always do, and we saw it in New Zealand. I'm going to say I'm not interested in minus 20-something here. I'd be more interested in minus 11 or minus 12, but I'm not a plus punter. So don't get me wrong here. This minus is too. I'm a Stormers punter. I'm a Stormers minus punter. It's just too high. So I'd rather wait until I'm going to watch and see here. I'm not taking 24 before the game. It does feel a bit high, but it's not high enough to suggest investing in a plus here. It can win, of course it can. Like the last comment, Sasha and this old Sharks scrum off that's in his late 40s.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, of course he's playing the best rugby of his life. I'd be scared to get on the plus at this point, and at the same time, there's just no value at minus 24. It just seems like you're going to sweat. I don't want to sweat. I want to, La Rochelle must be 10-0 up before Stormers must be 10-0 up when I take minus 24. So I probably won't have a bet on this game if this is how it's starting. I see Farid said he got 18 at 3 to just over 3-1. Well done to you. You saw it earlier. I'm not an early punter, so I'm not going to claim unhappiness over that. Yeah, this game, Brett, oh my gosh, this scares me. I saw 3. This was one handicap I did see. I saw minus 3 Sharks here. I'm not ready to back Sharks at minus yet. I'm really not. I don't care who they're playing. I'm not ready to press the button when I see a minus in front of their number. 1.5, I don't know. This sounds like a good English team. Sharks have been really pathetic. Again, I might just watch a little bit before I get involved here, and I'm unlikely to get involved, honestly. And if I do, I'm backing the English team. This seems like value to me. That it's a 9 to 10 game or thereabouts, and an even game. I'm interested in the English team, and I don't know anything about them, Brent, and that says something. This Sharks team has been so crap. I think I'm allowed to say crap, right? It's not as bad as shit. Crap is better, right?
Yeah, no, crap. Sure, okay. Say crap. Yeah, no, fair enough.
Just joking. Yeah, I just think the Sharks are really, really bad. And I'm going to punt the English team at the best price I can find. I did say last week, Farid, that the skill here is finding the turnaround for the Sharks. And I think that little 20-minute cameo in the game against the French last week might have got some people thinking it's a turn. I don't believe we've hit rock bottom here. I think the Sharks have got a little bit down to go, a little bit lower to go before it's time to punt them. I'm against them this week. The stake will be smaller, but at these numbers, I'm a Saracens punter. I just have to be. Not massive, but I'm definitely not backing the Sharks. If you gave me plus 12, plus 15, maybe I'd start going, okay, it's looking interesting. But I'm a Saracens punter, and again, I know nothing about them. So that's quite important for people to know that. I'm putting money on a team I know nothing about against a team that clearly looks like absolute crap.
Brent, at least the no fight back from the Sharks has now turned into a cameo. So it's moving up. It's turned into a 20-minute cameo. So I'm taking the cameo and hoping we get a little bit more this week.
Yes,
Just
I upgraded you from minus 12 happiness to minus 10. That's all that happened there. Still a minus
just
though.
quickly back to the Stormers, Brent. I was talking about a try scorer. I know a lot of people think it's absolute luck and obviously a lot involved, but just one on something that I note with the Stormers is on their line-out move. Obviously, hookers have become extremely cheap. It's a great time to be alive. Hookers are cheap, but they actually play a different move. The Stormers, where the number 6 flank often is the first guy to slot in. So he gets in the boot, as they call it. So Paul de Villiers is often a good price. I mean, he scored the last try this past weekend. He scored a few tries this season thus far. So at a good price, probably get around 24-1 on him to score the first try. I like that one. As I said, it's kind of their line-out move too. It's always the old Dion Free move that they still kind of do. So I like that one. That's just a little try scorer on the Sharks. I'm unfortunately with Gavin. It's there's just no way you can bet on the Sharks at the moment. Is maybe as he says, you might lose out on that time that they turn, and then so be it. But I mean, I'm not getting involved in this one in running. If it looks like the Sharks aren't there in those first 10 minutes, I think you can take Saracens, on the board or at a handicap. And I think you'll get a good idea 10, 15 minutes in what the Sharks are going to do. The interesting one is the new coach effect. I mean, I know it's JP Peterson, not a lot of confidence from my side. I mean, he's working with a lot of big egos of Springboks coming back. But often you get that change of coach effect. Brent, that first game, they put up a performance, they get the job done. It doesn't mean the coach is going to be successful. It doesn't mean anything really. But often that first game out, they just kind of play with some freedom, play to impress, and they do something. So the new coach is kind of a little bit of an unknown factor to keep in mind. So it's steering clear of that game. Watch 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You'll know immediately whether the Sharks are at the races or not, and you take an in-running play on Saracens if it's that normal day. I see the Sharks don't have their props there really. They've got two lesser known props. So I think you can don't back them with any confidence at the moment. Grant Williams obviously is good. Watch out for him in terms of a first try scorer. He's often lively. And then Edouard Swart off the bench is the hooker from the Pumas. He's a bit of a bollocking runner there, so he can get a try for you as last try scorer.
And just before I go to the next game, try scorer bets. Where do you take your try scorer bets at the moment? Where's your? If you had to single out one bookie, which you take try scorer bets at?
The nice little extra thing that Poker does and not PokerBet and not a lot of other guys is they've got first team try scorer and last team try scorer. So if you're not exactly convinced your teams are going to be good out the gate, then you can at least just take them your team's first try scorer or the team that you're fancying, and the same with the last. So they're actually the only ones I've seen who's got a last try scorer. WSP also have the first try scorer at times for a team, but never the last try scorer. And then, sorry, I don't want to throw punters under the bus here or bookies, but and Sunbet is the least favorite of those three because they've got like only the starting lineup. They don't have the bench as well as an option, so you can't take someone off the bench to score a try. So to me, it's Poker. Do
they have an option there where like you can have any other player? So in other words, or do they just not have it at all?
I think they just don't have it at all because they've got like a 3 line. So they've got their starting lineup and then they've got first try scorer, last try scorer, or anytime try scorer. So I don't think they have for any other player.
Okay, no, I'm interested in that because strictly speaking, they should quite. Otherwise, it should be kind of a case of draw no bet almost type of bet. In other words, if the player wasn't quoted, they should get back. But I'm interested you mentioned that. I thought it'd be the case because I've been watching PokerBet as well. And I haven't had any luck, let me put it to you that way, but I've been taking last team try scorer. And what I find is you get a substitute. Like I'll give you an example. Last week, was it the Northampton Saints? You had Pollock. He was like 14-1 to score the first try also in the match, but he was also 14-1 to score the last try, and he was a sub. So, I mean, there was no chance he was going to say there was no value in first try. but his team's last try, he was 14 or whatever it was. It was a decent price. I just haven't caught any of them yet, but I do think PokerBet are pretty good with those.
They never change. Yeah, they never change that, Brent. Even the starting hooker, he'll have the same price to be the last try scorer as well. Which, as you say, I mean, obviously you can get an absolute fluke where a guy's off of a blood replacement and he scores the try, or his team scores the last try in the first half, which just kind of happens to be the last try. So, but that's obviously that's just the mug pun to go for those guys.
Well, let me quickly bring you on to the next game there before Gavin wonders if we're ever coming back to him. Clermont plus 16.5 against another Sharks, the Sale Sharks. Anything here for you, Couch?
No clue, Brent. The two I know least about, France and England, nothing.
Okay, excellent. Because I've got to say StreamYard, the who I stream through, and I mean they've been pretty good over the years. I got a thing today saying that my subscription, they've identified that I should be on a business subscription. And if I don't do anything by the 10th of January, my subscription's going up to $289 a month, okay? I mean, good Lord, you must be joking. I do an hour show a week, and they come up with rubbish like that. And they've got the stupid timer thing on the banners now. So I set the thing at the start. I don't want the timer because I want the banners up. And then halfway through the show, it reverts to this 10 seconds, and I'm constantly searching for the banners. Anyway, bit of a shout against a StreamYard there. And we'll go to Gavin. I'm sure 10 seconds will be enough for his thoughts on this game.
No thoughts. But I do have something to say about first try scorer and last try scorer. So when I priced this up, and Farid's right, these are badly priced markets. They're probably priced at 140%. You're doing your money here, unless you're very good and you've actually found it. But honestly, this is potluck. This is dart throwing stuff. What I did is I named the 23 of both teams. So I had 46, plus I had no try scorer and any other try scorer. And that had a price because I'd named 23 people. But interestingly, and I'm going to use this example, when Brian Abana was playing at the time, because this is when I was doing it late 2000s, the oak would be 9, 10 to 1 to be first try scorer. But if he was starting on the bench, he was 33 to 1. So, yes, he could come on in the 4th minute, but he could also come on in the 74th minute. But I stood it. There were no deductions. If the guy wasn't on the field before the first try was scored, there was no deduction, which they do in first goal scorer in soccer. So if you've punted Brian Abana in that example at 33 to 1, you can't say, well, sorry, I want my money back because the first try was scored before I came on the field. So I changed the rules a bit, and I don't really see bookmakers doing that today. And I think that's the right way to do it. And in soccer, I would encourage, instead of having 24 people to score the first goal, put down the team list that's going to be playing, including the 3 guys on the bench, and make a price for them. Fixed price. And bet at 110 or 115% at most. This 140, you want directions at the police station because that's theft. I'll help you.
And that's actually why I think, Couch, you and I both found our way towards certain markets on PokerBet, because maybe the whole market percentage is not perhaps correct or is where we would want to see it. But because of the way it's priced up, that last try scorer play offers that, strictly speaking, if a guy like Pollock is 14 to 1 and he's going to be on the field at the end and there's only 15 players, it's a good price about a regular try scorer. But I take Gavin's points there and for each point. Johannes pointing out a typo, sorry, guys, on the Clermont handicap. They should have been minus. And we'll get Gavin going on the next game in a sec. I'll just have a look. Johan saying Sale potentially sending a second string side. So Clermont are big favourites there. Mad Dog odds, I like this. Bench players score roughly 27.8%. Now, if he says 27.8% roughly, I'd hate to see him when he's been specific. But anyway.
Exactly. You can't use the word roughly if you're going to the second digit or
that's
second
a man
decimal.
He loves
roughly 30 would be about right. I just want to say in the last comment, he said, I'm going to share the cost of your streaming. Share your profits with me, Brent, and we'll share the cost of the streaming.
Gavin, I do share my profits. How much did I give you last month?
0.
Exactly. Move on. That's all my profits for the You don't see these sponsors on this show. I'm on the plus for sales, says Fareed. Solid bet of the weekend. Right, Gav, we're going to stick with you. I want to quickly make sure I've got this cap right. Yes, I do. There's 35.5 in places, but 37.5 at BetX, where I took the line just before the show came on. And Gav, yeah, Bordeaux, very good performance against the Bulls last week. This looks like it's going to be a runaway win.
I don't know. 37.5 sounds too much for that. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this about the Welsh team. It does a little bit too much. Sure, they can be pumped, but I'm probably a plus punter. Yeah, I haven't had a proper look at it, but that does seem too high for me. And again, these games, these Champions Cup games, I actually don't know how well I've done over the years, Brent. It's not something I invest a lot in. I'm a Scarlets punter here at 37. Just seems too high. Not a lot, but just seems too high.
So, yeah, I see there was 32.5, so there has been a movement for Bordeaux. I must admit, Couched, one of those games where you'd be very nervous back in the plus, I think. And I'm very impressed with Bordeaux. I mean, I think they're the defending champs, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll give them a very strong chance of winning this title again. I think they've got an absolutely superb team. I did see somewhere they might rest a few internationals. I don't know how true that was. I saw it. I can't remember where I saw it, either on X or on the forum. What do you think of this game, though? You can't go for the Welsh, surely.
No, you absolutely cannot go for the Welsh. They are horrendous. And I mean, I'm not sure actually if Scarlets play next week. I know there's URC games next week. I don't know if Scarlets are in action, so maybe they'll be looking at that. But they just, I don't like them playing away, Bordeaux. But I mean, I think we got some warning signs last week that Bordeaux, and in typical French fashion, they could score 3 early tries and then just switch off and try and coast home like they did against the Sharks and allow for a fight black / cameo. So we don't want that to happen if you're on the minus. And if Berry is playing and Benno on the other wing, I mean, you're always going to be frightened of those guys because they just absolutely, they chaos on the field. They just pop up everywhere and untackleable. But I'll stay away from this one. If you want to do something, or if I want to do something, I'll probably look at a halftime cap and take Bordeaux to get the job done early, and then they might switch off. I don't want to be interested in the 70th minute with the handicap or the lead on 33, 34 points, and you're tense about which way this last try is going to go. That's not where I want to be.
Right, the next game, Couch, I'm going to bring you on is actually very interesting. And the reason I say that is I've got 2 websites open that I'm looking at here. And BetExchange have Munster minus 17.5, and PokerBet have Munster minus 21.5 against Gloucester. So imagine that gap will close one way or another pretty quickly. I'll be straight with you. I don't know which ways. Well, I don't know which one's right and which one's wrong. But any views on this game?
No, not much. Again, I mean, we probably know Munster better at this stage than what we know from Gloucester. I can't think they're going to be offering too much. The Poms, Munster in good, decent nick, but again, 17.5 is getting on the high side. So I'll probably include it as one of the legs in a couple to be a slightly less or lower minus on Munster. I think they'll definitely get the job done. It's just a case of whether they're going to cover 17.5 or not. So tentative one on Munster to include in some multis, but at 17.5 it gets a bit tough. But I'm impressed with Munster and the way they're playing rugby at the moment.
Gavin?
I don't have anything on this game, but I will go with Johan Scooby there and actually say that if you can find a bookmaker who'll give you close to 50 to 1 for Scarlets to win the game, you can put a coin on that, because that's going to be a massive price. He's right. I mean, that's the game. Correct. These results tell you something. They're subconscious. You can't see that and go 37. What's going on here? I don't know. Not against those dodgy French who will field half a team and leave the rest in the hotel. I don't know. Yeah, I've just increased my stake by double, and it was small, so it's still small, but it's bigger than small. Not quite medium.
Still small, bigger than small. But that's an oracleism for you. I think we should coin that phrase.
Oracleism, I like that. You've coined a new phrase.
That's it, right? For Rita and Munster, a classic 1-7 winner. Right, Gav, let's stay with you.
Absolutely nothing on this game. Really, nothing. Watch a bit.
I thought you were already talking on the next game.
No.
Glasgow plus 8.5 against Toulouse.
I'm going to tell you that you go for Glasgow here. After what I saw, and I don't care how many this Toulouse team was very good. They started off well. They had all the French stars, but they went to sleep. And they're on sleeping pills. I'm going to tell you at plus 8, I'm getting.
Did Gav freeze there?
Yeah, no, it looks like it.
So it was funny because I was waiting for him to talk because he went at plus 8 and it looked like he was really concentrating, but we'll give him a chance to come back in. Catch what you
Brent, Glasgow, I mean, you saw it there in one that Johan Squinby, I think, shared about Glasgow beating or losing to Scarlet. So it's been a bit up and down. Glasgow haven't quite been the same as last season on the URC form. So to me, or the last couple of seasons, so it's tough. On the face of things, you'd say, listen, Glasgow in with a chance to keep things tidy at home. They're always tough in Scotland, so it's a difficult one to go and back to lose again. The French, a big difference when they're playing at home as opposed to playing away from home. But it was the first game back for Dupont, and I think they'll be better. I mean, they've got Ramos, who just never misses a bloody kick. So I'm still not going to be rushing onto the plus. I'll probably just take Toulouse to get the job done into some multis. I don't see them losing that one.
Who took Cleaver saying Toulouse could have a strong team with a few possible injury returns. Gav, sorry, we lost you when you were talking about this game. We thought you were pondering it for a while because you just froze. And I thought this guy's really giving it but you were gone.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about it. I was actually having a rant, Brent. I was saying that this Toulouse team were on sleeping pills in the game. So we've gone from a Sharks cameo to Toulouse being on sleeping pills. I'm interested in Glasgow on the board here. Probably getting 5-2, 3-1 for them to win the game. I'm interested in that. I just can't see this French team absolutely smashing this. And I'm going to say more than 10 would be a smashing. I think Glasgow win the game. The value's on them winning on the board. I wouldn't bother with a plus. You can have a small bet if you want, but yeah, I like them. I like them to win at that price.
Yeah, and you can get 3-1. Yeah, I'm just having a quick look for you there. You can get 3-1 on Glasgow on the board. Typical of my form last week, just it was actually involving Edinburgh. The last games were coming up, and I fancied Edinburgh on the board, and then I saw the Exeter tries overs, and of course I chose that one. Only to switch channels and see Edinburgh winning the game convincingly against Toulouse. Right, let's have a look. What's the next game? I did get your opinion on that one, so we'll stick with Gav for the next one. This is Harlequins up against Bayonne. I'll tell you now if there's been any significant moves. There was 17.5 Harlequins. It went up to 21.5. Seems to have come back down. Gavin, French team away from home. Is this a game where you say it's Harlequins or no bet?
This is this Bayonne. They played. Who did they play last week?
They played the Stormers. Stormers at home.
Yeah, they have to win. They have to come back. That's right. This is the team that started off very well against the Stormers. That feels a bit too big because they were minus against the Stormers. And I told you, punt the Stormers on the board. I'm a Bayonne plus punter here. I think the Stormers are very good, and they've used the wrong barometer to make this handicap. 19 seems way too high here. I'm a Bayonne punter at 19.5.
The problem, Couch, with a team like Bayonne is, look, they put up a fight against the Stormers, but the reality is they've lost the home game in this competition.
Yeah.
Which means they're on the back foot.
Correct, and it's motivation to come back. Correct. Yeah. I'll put more into this.
Well, I would argue the other way, Gav. I would say that, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I would say there's a very strong argument the other way to say they've given up on this competition already. Harlequins went away from home, got not a losing bonus point, a 4-try bonus point against Leinster. This is their game they're going to be going for.
I agree. I'm out. I'm not on. You pointed out a very important point here. The French will give up easily. I'm out of this game. You're 100% right. This could be anything. I'm not involved.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the important thing of the Champions Cup. It's such a short round in that pool kind of stage, and if you don't win your home game, and especially the French, if a France team, can't win at home, they're not going to go to England and go and upset the apple cart. I don't think Harlequins will be keen to win at home at the Stoop or wherever it is. I think they'll win that one. And probably I'll go for that handicap as well. I think Bayonne, as people have said there, they'll probably rest some players, give it up the ghost. Harlequins take this one.
Right, I'm going to stay with you. We're on to, Harlequins is also a Sunday game. We've actually got quite a few Sunday games here. And Cast, -3.5 against Edinburgh. And I didn't watch them in action last weekend. I did see Edinburgh pull up the upset win at home. There is -5.5 at PokerBet and -3.5 at BetExchange. So a bit of a difference of opinion. Anything here for you, Kach?
Edinburgh, we know better. French team at home. Yeah, I don't know. The French are a fickle bunch. I struggle calling them. Edinburgh, usually what I like of them is they keep it tidy. So I'll probably take like the extended handicap and include that for Edinburgh. As soon as I see the team, obviously, at least with Edinburgh, I know if I see a good Edinburgh team or not. So if I see a decent team, I'll take alternative plus 7.5, plus 10.5. Throw that into some multis. I think Cast will probably cast the net wide and get the job done, but I think Edinburgh will keep it tidy.
Right. Gavin, did I even ask you on this game? So there's so many games I'm getting mixed up. I don't think I may ask you on this one. Any thoughts?
No, just off the bat, it does seem like I like Edinburgh, and I do agree with the last comment. The French, they don't really take this seriously until they've won 2 games. And I go back to what you just said, in the last game. The Oaks lost their first home game, they're out. You're right. And what Fareed said, I agree with this. These are dangerous games to get involved in. You've got to look at this and say, where's the motivation? I mean, Jake White came out, I think, 2 years ago and said, if we South African teams want to be serious rugby contenders, we need squads of 60, and we need to work out where we're taking, which games you're taking seriously and which ones we aren't. I don't know. I'm a Scottish punter here. I think that's a bit of value, 16-10, maybe 15-10, to win the game. Yeah, I'm an Edinburgh punter in this match. But again, small, watch a bit, don't get involved too much. Nothing, I don't know. Yeah, the French at home against Bath, I don't know. I don't know anything about these two at the moment. So nothing for me here.
So, Kach, Bath, I think I didn't get to watch them in action last week, but I think they had a good win, if I remember correctly. And Toulon, of course, losing to Edinburgh away, maybe in a way when, as much as we said, if you lose on the road, you lose at home, you're almost gone. If you lose on the road, it's still salvageable. And I guess a lot will depend on their motivation, but bookies make this a choice game.
Yeah, not the type of game you want to win to keep yourself in the competition. Bath is a serious team. They got all the Thomas the Tank playing there, scoring tries for fun. So I think Bath will give them a proper fight. But Toulon under pressure, they don't take losses well there. And at home, so it's one to steer clear of for me, but I wouldn't be surprised if I think Toulon would get the job done.
Johan says there's value in Bath there. They won the Premiership last year, and this year they're going for the big one. And I must admit, I'm also leaning towards them. I just feel Toulon's loss was very disappointing against Edinburgh, and maybe they are also ready to almost pack it in. Hutu Cleaver said Bath started at plus a 4.5. And Fareed is also all over Bath. Just one thing, Couch, on that one. Thomas the Tank. I guess we look, if he's on the bench for argument's sake, now there's a nice example of a potential last try scorer.
Beautiful. Hey? He scores. I mean, if the bookies are, that's the point that we try to make there is if the bookies are just using algorithms based on positions, not on track record, and linking someone up as a prop and giving a prop price, which is a 40-1 to score a try, then you got to grab it in terms of Thomas Latoy, who scores every second game pretty much in the Prem. So that's a value punt.
Right, it seems like everyone kind of united on Bath here as being the value away to Toulon. I'm going to move on to the next game. It involves the South African side, and it's the Saints against the Bulls. Now, the Bulls, of course, we've been speaking about French teams losing at home and Ugan. Now, the Bulls did lose at home to obviously one of the top sides. And this game, by the squad they've sent over Couch, they're not throwing in the towel. They're under a lot of pressure, though. And this game, very, very important for them. You've got a Northampton team who, in the end, won, I think, by 8 points last week. They came away to win quite well after looking under pressure at one point. There was minus 21.5. Let me just double check that. I'm pretty sure I saw Saints at minus 21.5 early in the week. Let's go down until I finally see. Yeah, 21.5. They opened against the Bulls. And the Bulls, and now it's minus 13.5. So there's actually been, I think, just an acknowledgement by bookmakers / punters that maybe that cap was just a bit too big. What are your views on this one, though?
No, they've definitely not given up. Sorry, I just saw Mad Dog checking the price on Thomas the Toya. Even 25-1 is still a good price, by the way, because he's pretty much scoring like a hooker. But on the Bulls, it's a strong side, but there's still Volcalo isn't playing, and Pollard isn't playing. I don't know. Some people say maybe it's not the worst decision that he isn't playing at the moment, but yeah, it means that it's either going to be Kate Boliter or Keegan Johannes playing 10. I don't know. Just at the moment, there's zero defense. I don't know who Ackerman has hired as the defense coach, but I don't know what he's doing at the moment. He's playing PlayStation and not coaching rugby, because they are absolutely sucking on defense, and Northampton will run them to sheds. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I mean, again, at the moment, every game the Bulls are in, I'm backing overs rather. It feels like it's the safest one in case the Bulls do fire and get the job done. But yeah, I think Northampton should. I mean, away from home, the Bulls aren't the same as well. So no, Northampton Saints probably to cover that. And again, I'll probably take the first half handicap there. Northampton to come out firing, Bulls try and find their feet away from home. The Afrikaans boys, they don't like all the English around them. It's gonna be a hard, tough slog for the Bulls.
Yeah, and Northampton, I was on there over 32.5, which arrived late last week, but they just look a side full of tries. And if the Bulls do have a bit of an off day defensively, as you say, Northampton Saints can certainly put them to the swords.
They don't need an off. It's not about an off day. They've been off the whole month. They need a very, very on day to try and contain anyone. I think they're averaging 6 tries shipped at the moment in the last 3 games, so they're very poor.
Okay, no, 100%. And I mean, the points have been flowing at Loftus certainly over the last few weeks. So it'll be interesting to see. Of course, guys, I'm going to actually look at all the weather tonight and post the links on the blog on Good for the Game. I haven't had a chance to look yet this week. I must say I've been pretty exhausted this week. I'm going to show you something here quickly. This pic was snapped of me earlier this evening from my daughter. I was having a good old kip on the couch there, pretty bloody exhausted. So I haven't looked at the weather yet, but I'm going to do. But obviously, points punters look out for the weather. Right, Gav, we haven't got your opinion yet on the Bulls Saints game.
There's a digit missing here. This Bulls team will not stay within 30. Seriously, this is big. This is my best bet of the weekend. Get on Northampton. I'm going to suggest I'm about to call Granny's pension, because this looks like there's numbers missing. I'm not joking. This looks absolute rubbish. That I punted that Bulls. I took a -9 maybe or -10 in running, and you can see my arm. I met with a tree. I went wine farming. I met with a tree. The tree's okay though. Don't worry. I was had a couple of Sharpies. I was a couple of sheets to the wind, and I backed the Bulls in this pub, and in running. Not a big bet, so I wasn't stupid, but I actually thought they're going to win comfortably. And then the true colors showed they just lost. They just lost it. I think this 13 is. Had the Bulls won the game, this would have been 3. And I don't think it's enough. It should be 23. Honestly, they got the wrong first digit. I'm a Saints, and again go back to what I said earlier. I know nothing about this team. The Bulls going to England after what they did last week. No, I'm a I'm a Northampton Saints minus punter, and I'm very happy to be. And I'll have a bigger. This is my best bet of the week.
Confidence there from the Oracle. I also like the Saints. I must have been leaning very much in their direction. Was this interesting? You mentioned backing the Bulls in running on that last week. Before the game, okay, I went for the halftime, full time, and I went Bordeaux Bulls, thinking that the Bulls would finish the stronger of the two sides. And in actual fact, it went the other way around. It was Bulls Bordeaux. So yeah, it went the opposite to what I was expecting. So as much as I liked Bordeaux last week, when they were trailing at halftime, I thought, oh, the Bulls should win it from here. But anyway, they were very, very disappointing. The panel are all leaning towards the Saints. I think that's one more game to go. It's Bristol minus 20.5 points.
Sorry, Brent, I don't think we're leaning. We've fallen over. We were leaning so much.
Yeah, fair enough. And Bristol minus 20.5, Gavin?
I don't know, but this is the team that have had some interesting results, this French team. 20 seems too much for them. Just on the back of this, I'm a PAU punter. I don't know what it stands. I know it just stands for Noise or Nice or who knows. I'm on them. Not big, but right now that seems to be.
I don't know.
Yeah, section like the ward of a prison. I don't know, it's an interesting name to name a rugby team. But yeah, I think 20 is too much for a French team away at England. Too much.
And Kutch, finish us off here before we get into best bets and talk a little bit of cricket perhaps or strategy, whatever you want to chat about.
No, I can't back a French team away from home. That's my only rule in this competition. So I'm staying away. I know people have said Bristol, the Bears aren't roaring at the moment, but yeah, no, nothing for me there. Again, I'll have a look in running, see where I heard Farid is again talking about a second team. French send the second team could be a disaster. Staying away from that for now.
Right, and Kutch, what are your best bets then, or best bet, whatever, on the weekend from what we've discussed?
No, I think we align there on Northampton. It'll be solid in all my multis on a little bit of a 6.5 handicap or 9.5, and then even on the outright, I'm taking that as my one solid handicap play. I'll actually go check it as soon as I get off the show now, because I haven't actually seen that, so I'll see what I can get there. And what I actually like to do the other way around as well is just take something ridiculous like 29.5 or whatever and do that as well.
Right. And Oracle, your best play, I think we know it's going to be the same as Kutch's.
Yes, and I just want to talk about the Cheetahs and the Lions. Obviously, there's no handicap at the moment, and as we know, they're involved in the Challenge Cup. I was disappointed in the Lions. They had a decent start as well, looked okay, and then just got thumped. Cheetahs, they're going to take a game or two to get into this. They are playing their home game. I don't know what their handicap's going to be. I'm assuming they're going to be a plus, maybe 5, 6, 7, something like that. I'm going to back the Cheetahs at their first game at home with the Orange fans. A small bet. I went against them last week. I want to back them this week. Yeah, Northampton Saints for me. I got the due right in the ODI. Interestingly, I'm going straight into cricket now. By the way.
And I'm going to allow it. Are you allowed to talk about cricket now? While I bring up some of the other bets.
Yeah, so I backed South Africa in the first T20. 3-1 before the game. Sorry, not before the game. 2-1. Sorry, not 3-1. 2-1. 3.0, whatever. Got 2-1. And I watched them go all the way down to 5-10, and they had India in trouble. But and I actually at the break I took 9-10 South Africa. So, that's unusual for me to take something lower than half the price I got in the beginning. It's a way of explaining that's how I got my 7-10 rule. I don't go under 7 or 10, but I also had these rules where I don't go really under half what I took before. So if I've backed something at 16-1, I don't take them at 6-1. I'll stop at 8-1. I don't know. mental rule. But yeah, I lost on that game. They were outplayed completely. Watching today, I didn't have a bet before the game, so I didn't see the price before the game. I got to my last customer, sitting down, we're having a beer, it's 30 to 1. Sorry, they 30 for no wicket. They hadn't lost a wicket yet. And I see 3 to 1. So I had a bet. And I didn't have another bet. Didn't need to. India were poor. And I think the due factor, I thought it might influence these T20s, but it's been the opposite. But seeing the people in the crowds, Brent and Han for that matter, Oracle Cricket, actually wearing jackets. It is so cold over there. This is winter in India. This is not summer. This is winter in India. And we are playing a summer sport. This is unprecedented. We haven't played games like this. We play them here. Why aren't they playing in South Africa this time? Anyway, I just think that they're starting off at 4 to 10, 18 to 10, India, and they have no idea. It's a T2, it's a coin flip at this point. These teams are well matched, and you're getting value on South Africa. And I'm sorry, if I'm getting over 12 to 10 South Africa before they've bowled a ball, before they've had after the toss, before the ball, I'm interested. I think you're going to make money. We've got 3 more games before next week. I'm a South African punter here. They're good enough. They've got the confidence. I mean, you saw how upset Janssen was when he dropped that catch there. Not that it made any difference in the match, but he was really upset. This is a passionate South African team we have not seen since the Hansie Cronje era of the late 90s, where they were passionate and they were favourites going into a World Cup at the time. I just think this team, it's gelling. I think you want to offer me a big price in South Africa, I'm punting them. Don't care. Not taking India at 5 to 10. Not interested.
And Couch, I mean, there's been the one thing about this cricket, particularly the T20s, is the price fluctuations, and like Gavin said, taking the 3 to 1 in running there. What have you been doing on the cricketing front? Any thoughts on the remainder of the series?
Yeah, I think the caveat there to start with is that I absolutely love cricket, but if I had to do that spreadsheet and check the betting, it's been an absolute money pit for me. I can't help myself. I pull the trigger. I'm like I think I'm like I used to be, and that's why I wanted to talk strategy. But we can do that maybe on a different show. Is being a buyer,
we can do it now.
Being a buyer and being a seller, and I think it's human nature to almost be a buyer. It's you want to do the nice things, the good things, the enjoyable ones. It was always going overs and runs. So I mean, I remember spread betting and going on AB de Villiers, and I think I won like 1K, and I was over the moon. It was my biggest win, and I think I lost subsequently 4 or 5 punts and never spread bet again. And it was all downhill from there. But I mean, it's tough for me to not go for the runs. I'm a batting kind of guy. I love that. But in terms of the punting, I like your top batsman, getting involved early and seeing some value where they've got a guy in T20 listed as coming in at 7, and he's actually going to be coming in at number 3 because he did that in the previous game, or and the bookies just haven't seen that coming. So like Akshar Patel today is kind of value because he bats at 5, and they just see him as more of a bowler. So you get kind of value plays like that, which I like. But to me, it's you get more in Test cricket. So I enjoy Test cricket, and just in general I enjoy. So the Ashes I'm absolutely loving that. That's my thing. These T20s, it's like dime a dozen. I don't worry too much. But in the first game, I actually got, whilst the 2 guys were batting, Hardik Pandya was going to be the next one in, and both of them were on about 20, and I took Hardik Pandya to be the top run scorer at 10 to 1, and he came in and smashed the 50 and won me the bet. So I think I found like a little bit of a market there, but not a lot of bookies have it where you can take the top batsman in running. So it's nice because again they back the guys who are in, expecting them to go on, and they've got this 20 run head start. But if a quick wicket falls, then all of a sudden you in the running. So even in the test, I might take it when someone's on 30 or 40, then all of a sudden that guy is odds on to be the top run scorer. But if you take the 2 wickets further guy to be the top run scorer, you get an excellent price, and he's often in the running. So those kind of things I enjoy. And then obviously, Indian pitch, they expect it to be spin friendly, but you think, okay, you've read all the previews and it's actually going to be seamer friendly at the start. So take Bumrah to be the top bowler in the first innings, and you can actually get him at a good price where you shouldn't, because he's head and shoulders the best bowler in his team. So yeah, no, little things like that. Marco Jansen, when you all of a sudden see he's picking up form like now off the bat. I mean, Marco Jansen is now an excellent pick as a top batsman. If South Africa do struggle, then all of a sudden he comes in, it's a 30 or 40 and wins the market for you at 20-1. So yeah, don't want to bore everyone out there in the chat and watching, but that's the kind of things I enjoy in the cricket.
You're not boring them, Han, and I'll say one thing. So what you're talking about is quite interesting. I believe the algorithms are 5 to 7 games behind us. So you got a guy like Jansen. The algorithms don't know about Jansen yet. I'm not joking. They do not know. For the next 3 or 4 games, they have no idea what he's going to do because they need more information. What you're talking about, and I used to love this, was the clubhouse leader in golf on a Sunday. The guy posts, he's in the clubhouse, he's got -17. There's a couple of oaks out there on -18 and 19. But he's the clubhouse leader. He's finished. His number's posted. And you're getting him at 50-1 in running, 100-1 in running, because they're expecting these guys to get, finish on -22. And then suddenly somebody's WhatsApped him and he's on the practice tee and he's hitting a few balls because he's now back in the race. And he's no longer 50-1 or 20-1. He's 5-2 or 18-10 or even 7-10. So I agree. If you can read the game, you must remember that Jansen goes and hits 5 or 6 30s and T20s or 4 out of 7 50s in the next ODIs. The algorithm's caught up. You're not making money anymore. So I agree with you. If you can read this game better than the computer, and again, you've got a small window. Take it. Don't, you just, they're badly priced, but if you can, there's going to be one winner. There's going to be one wrong priced player. And if you can find him, go for it. Yeah, I agree. I don't get involved in those because they are badly priced. But if you've got an edge over it, go for it. But seriously, 120, 125, I've got no interest. I mean, I worked with the Irish a couple of years ago, and they, in their head, and this is like, I didn't really see it in bookmakers in South Africa, but the European bookmakers, for every participant, they want to add 2%. So they got 50 oaks playing, and they want to go 200%. I'm going, it doesn't work like that. Like, you're building in a margin to protect yourself from an apocalypse of good punters. What are you doing? You're going to lose business. They're going to go somewhere else. I don't know. I don't see that mindset. At some point, you've got to stop and say, this is the line where I'm not going to rob my punters and I'm going to show a fair price. Because my attitude to bookmakers, and again, I've been on both sides of the fence, don't offer a price if you don't know how to price it up. Move on. Do what you know what to do with. Don't get involved in stuff you don't know and then cry or moan afterwards because you've lost money.
I think we'll do a cricket show sometime.
To use Gavin's words, I'm going to draw a line here as well, I reckon.
Yes, draw a line.
Call a show just after the hour mark. I see Couch having a good laugh there. But first of all, to the guys in the live chat, thanks. I think we had a bit of a spammer coming on at the end, but I didn't bring his comments up. But thanks, guys. Great contributions as always. And then to the Oracle, good to chat to you. Have a relaxing weekend. Enjoy the rugby. And Couch, always good to have you on the show. I know we don't get to hook up very often, but lekker for you to come on and talk a bit and get Gavin all excited about cricket as well. So thanks, mate. Great to see you again.
Cheers, Ben. Thanks. It was lekker. Nice seeing you, Gav.
You too, bro. Shot.